Hey, Nicole Holland here. You're listening to episode 32 of the Business Building Rockstars Show.
You're listening to the Business Building Rockstars Show, where your host, Nicole Holland, gets the lowdown from today's most talented, inspiring, and successful entrepreneurs on what it really takes to reach rockstar status.
Do you want to get your message out in a bigger way by being a guest on a web show or podcast just like this? If you do, text the letters I am ready to 33444 and I will send you free of charge a guide called How to Be a Great Guest. Don't make rookie mistakes that so many people do when they're starting out. Get known as a great guest that hosts search for free by texting I am ready to 33444. So to spell that out, it's the letters I am READY to 33444, and I will send you a complimentary copy of my guide, How to Be a Great Guest. My guest today is Parul Agrawal, and we're talking about her unexpected journey from engineering to authorpreneurship, how to turn your passion into profit, and what it takes to really chase your dreams. I appreciate you tuning in today, and without further ado, let's get to the interview. Hey there, entrepreneur. Thanks for tuning into the Business Building Rockstars Show. I'm super excited to have with me Parul Agrawal today with us on the show. Parul is an international best-selling author, Huffington Post blogger, wealth and wellness expert, and tiger mama. Her mission is to educate families and professionals alike about simple, effective ways that they can use to live healthier, happier, and successful lives. She inspires, motivates, and empowers individuals to achieve optimal physical, spiritual, and emotional and financial well-being. So, Parul, are you ready to rock?
Yes, I am, Nicole. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction.
Absolutely. It's a super big pleasure for me to have you here. We've been in touch on social media. We have some things in common, and I came across your new book about juicing. So why don't you fill our listeners in on what you're doing in the world today on a day-to-day basis and how you support people to get those goals met?
Sure, Nicole. Regarding my book, it's called Juicing for Healthier Families. And my whole juicing adventure and journey started with my own adventure, because after I had my son, I wanted to lose weight, get in shape, and most importantly, feed myself something nutritious and healthy while I was nursing and being a busy new mom. So I got across juicing and smoothies, and I figured out it was such a great way to incorporate, healthy diet, and it's a no-brainer, really. You're getting all these fruits and vegetables in a small glass. I called it nutritional powerhouse in a glass, and that is how my journey began. And then I started blogging about it. I thought of detoxing my body, and a gentle detox, because even while you're nursing, some people think that you're not supposed to detox, but if the child is also eating some other food, you could do like a gentle detox, which means essentially feeding your body good food. So, and I started blogging about it, and somehow the blog got really popular. People started, reading it, and they got inspired from it. And I got calls from the local recreational centers here. I'm pretty sure you're aware with the geography of Phoenix. So I got a call from somebody at Tempe Recreational Center, and she asked me if I could offer these workshops for their patrons. And I was just doing it for myself, but obviously I had this holistic nutrition background with me, and I took this as a great opportunity, and I jumped up because I was really excited and I wanted to share my message with the entire world. I came up with the curriculum, and I started offering these workshops, and before I knew it, really became popular. And then people wanted something more. They were like, 2 hours is not enough. We need more recipes. We need, more guidance, what you need to do with the pulp, and so on and so stuff. So I thought maybe, I'll just write a small handout that I could, give it to my people, the patrons who come to my workshop after the workshop. So I started writing, and then instead of writing a small handout, it became a book big project. And I ended up writing this book. And then I found out, now I have this book, I put in all this hard work. So what next, And then I decided to actually learn the tricks and trades of making it a bestseller on Amazon and how to market your book correctly, because writing is one skill and marketing is another skill. So I learned everything, and then I did the strategy and launch and everything properly. And luckily it became an international bestseller.
That's so exciting. And so did you self-publish then on Amazon?
I did, yes.
Cool. And then you launched an international best-selling author now. And so I love how that just kind of came organically from something you were doing for your own wellness and health and enjoyment, how you took your experience, you were blogging about it, people paid attention, you started teaching workshops because they asked for it. From that, they were asking for more and you gave them that. And I think that's such an incredible path that's really valuable for our listeners, because a lot of times people are looking at that end goal and they're going, okay, I need to get there. And then with a lot of my clients, we have to work back and structure out the process of how do you get there. But it's really nice to also, if it's something that you're not sure exactly where you want to go, or not sure exactly that you're committed to how you're going to go or whatever, it's beautiful. And I love this unfolding when people can really say, I'm going to just do what feels good and what comes natural and what I enjoy. And it's good, because when you're doing that and you're in the flow, more good stuff comes. And it's like you're guided up a path that you didn't necessarily know was coming. So did you want to be an author before that, or was this something that just came about?
Yeah, I always actually wanted to be an author, and it's my childhood dream it was my childhood dream to write a book, publish it. I always, anybody who knows me well knows that I always wanted to be a journalist. But growing up in India, when I was growing up, either you are an engineer or you're a doctor, and the third profession is not considered good. So I ended up being an engineer, and then I came to States and I ended up doing my master's degrees, 2 master's degrees in engineering. And I was happy with, my corporate job. Obviously, it was really paying me well, no doubt about that. And but that thing inside me was always there, that I need to write a book. That is my first love, and I'm somehow missing on my first love. So I used to tell myself I'm writing so many research papers that is as close to writing, an actual book. So I always wanted to write it. And then, but the right topic never came into my mind. I wanted to write a fictional book, then, a story book, a romantic book. I never knew what. And then, as you said, this just fell into my lap, and I knew that, this was my calling, because I was reading so many books out there, and some of the books were really technical and some of the books were really basic. And I was like, being a busy mom, nobody has the time to read so many things and, actually research so much. So I did all the research for busy families, and I put it in a way that was easy to understand, and also at the same time, technical enough and scientific enough that it was backed by science. So yeah, coming back to your original question, I always wanted to be an author, but I never knew how, when, and where. So right now, I am actually living my dream just by following my path and my calling.
Very cool. Now, how did you go from engineer to health and wellness?
Yeah, that's another story in itself. So I moved to US in 2004, and I got married. And after getting married, I moved to US. And then I was studying, doing my master's in engineering and also working a corporate job. And before I knew, I was 30 pounds overweight, and for my short height, I'm barely 5 feet, if you have seen me. So for my short height, being, that overweight was not really good. And I had difficulties, doing my daily chores. And basically, life was not being led to the fullest potential. And so I started, my journey just because I wanted to lose weight myself. And I joined a boot camp, and I thought, wow, that lady is so amazing, the lady who was teaching the boot camp. And I'm like, if she could do it, possibly I could do it too. So without second thought, I enrolled in a school, to earn my diploma in personal training and nutrition, because I really wanted to, coming from that science background, I really wanted to dive deeper into it, learn the mechanisms and the science behind it. So I started, I enrolled in this diploma program. And at the same time, while I was, couple of weeks into the program, I get a call from my family in India that my father, he had a massive heart attack. So we come from a really small town in India. And by the time he was moved to the city, and by the time he got medical treatment, his heart was actually only 25% of what it should be. So right now his heart is only functioning at 25% of optimal function. And we had to spend like almost 2 months in the hospital. And after we came back home, it was even more confusing, because now what kind of food we need to give him, what kind of exercise we need to do. I mean, obviously the hospital gave us basic guidelines, but those were really basic, and more importantly, like what lifestyle changes we need to do so that he doesn't go through all this and we don't go through all this again ever in our life. So, the nutrition knowledge I had gained in few weeks in my program actually helped me a lot, in designing his program, designing his lifestyle. And that was really, a trigger for me. That was my wake-up call. And I'm thinking here, 20 years, 25 years as an engineering career could not really help my dad, but 3 or 4 weeks as a nutritional, student helped him so much. And that is when I decided that this is really what I want to do. And what started as my own family, helping out my own family, became a bigger goal, and I could actually help others. And, that was essentially the starting point of it all. And once I started, I realized how much I love doing it. I never get tired reading about the new research in nutrition. I'd never get tired talking about it. It was truly my passion. It was like, hidden somewhere deep down inside. And this was the aha moment. I'm like, wow, this doesn't bore me at all. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. You're talking about that. It's like, I have chills. That's so nice. In terms of shifting then from you were an engineer, you had this experience, you made this decision to start doing the boot camp. Was it a complete shift at that point? Or were you doing the education to do something on the side? Were you planning on keeping your engineering? Like what was your vision at that point when you made
initially when
And also after you had this experience with your father, what was that like?
So initially I was doing both at the same time, mainly because, I was in this job and I was committed to that job. Plus I was also finishing my master's program. And at the same time, I was building up my practice as a holistic expert. And so initially it started with that, doing it as a part-time thing. And then I realized, because you could say that I was married and I already had a good source of income from, at least one full-time job. So I thought, money was not such a big issue. So why not just, do it full-time and invest all my time, invest all my energy, and invest all my resources in it? Because if you do something half-heartedly, or if you are defocused, doing things at the same time, you are not able to focus on them. This is what I believe. And as I said earlier, I was really enjoying doing what I do. And I had this opportunity to live my passion and live my, dream job. So why not, grab onto it and not being so greedy? Obviously, when I started, I was not making, so much, as I would be making in a corporate job. But then at that moment, you really have to decide what's more important for you. Is money so important, or living by your passion is so important? Because honestly, not so many people in this world have this opportunity to actually live their passion and do their dream job. So at that point, it was a critical point when I decided, this is what I really want to do and live my dream job. And luckily I had good support from my family. They were not really concerned about, me being into the corporate world and, getting a paycheck every month, and they let me explore it. So I think it's just, you have to sit back and decide, like, is this what you really want to do? And then go with it in full flow without thinking you will be a failure or a success. Because if you put 100% into something, you will definitely be a success.
Totally. I love that. And I think that it's important to point out that that fear is what holds most people back, because you mentioned that not everybody has the opportunity. And I have a little bit of a different take on that. I believe everybody has the opportunity. Every single person who wants to, who has a dream, yes, you can do your dream. It may not look the way you envision in your dream at first, but you have the ability if you're willing to do it. And that means sacrifice. That means compromise. That means you've got to, make the decision, and there's going to be heaps of challenges. But if you are 100% sure that's what you are destined to do, and that's what you're wanting, that you value being in joy, being in flow, and living your dream, then you can do it. I believe, I've seen it. I know everybody has the ability to, if they're willing to do what it takes. And that's where I think a lot of times that thing is where people say, I can't. No, you can. You just are making choices that are stopping you from doing that. So you had great support from your family. You knew what you wanted to do. What have you found to be the biggest challenge in doing your dream?
Before that, thank you so much for saying that, Shannon. I do truly believe that, people can do it. Sometimes people tell me that they don't know what their passion is. And that's not true, or what they're good at. Some people tell me I'm not good at anything. I'm like, no, that's not true, because everybody has something unique which they are good at. And coming back to your question now regarding challenges. So when I started my very first full-time job, you could say, or full-time endeavor, was to organize these kids camp, because, I truly believe in kids' health. I believe they are the future, and we should inculcate these habits in them right from the beginning. So, not coming from a traditional holistic health background, a traditional, nutritional background with a master's and stuff, and, just starting up my business, there were so many things that I had to learn, how to market it to the right people, finding the location to do these camps, what kind of, waivers do we need if we are actually working with kids, and teaching them about nutrition, and then most important, how to fill those camps, because then that is another thing. So I did it with a friend of mine who was also a fellow student. We did these camps, but we really had to keep the price low to attract most of the students. So I believe for the entire week it was around $65 or something, which was really low for the entire week of kids camp, as you would imagine. And so setting up the right prices, if it is, and maybe, not giving so much for getting something in back, there were so many things that I had to learn, really. And the most important, or the most challenging thing, which was, and which still is for me, is marketing and sales. Like how to market my product and how to get sales from it has been the most challenging thing so far.
Yeah. And thank you for explaining all that. Now, what do you think has been the biggest benefit in building this business as you've been going forward?
The biggest benefit has been, to me personally, has been that, a lot of people know me now, personally. And as I was building, it gave me so much experience that I could really write about it. And then I used to write about it. The best teacher is your own experience and your own education. And then I could share my message through my blogs at Huffington. And that was like the biggest success for me, getting a position, a guest blogger position at Huffington Post. And now I am so much more confident personally in how I deal with people and how I talk with people. And now I know, like, what my services are worth. And I really do not underball my services, because that doesn't take you anywhere. So it has been a lot of learning and a lot of name. And because, eventually I started with this first, but then eventually it's all word by mouth now. People know what I do, how I do. And initially whatever marketing I did is now helping me, because now I don't really have to market so much. People are just coming through word of mouth.
Very cool. And so what would you say to yourself, if you could go back in time 10 years, like there was this time machine, what would you tell your younger self to look forward to, and advice that you would give in becoming an international best-selling author?
The advice I would give to myself if I was 10 years younger would be actually to live each moment to the fullest. And that might not sound like a business advice, but it is most important, because we keep thinking about our future and we keep planning about our future, and we miss that moment that we are living right now. And I also tell people that keep learning, keep exploring. There is so much out there. People always tell me that, they don't know what they need to do. And I'm like, go research and you will find something that you really love doing. And a lot of people do not have the time to do the research. They have $1 million businesses, but they do not have the time to do the research. So you do the research for them, create an awesome course and offer it to them. So, just keep exploring, keep expanding your vision, keep educating yourself, and don't think that, even if you are the best in something, you are, that is the end of the world, because that is not really the end of the world. You could actually gain so much more. And most importantly, be your authentic self. Once people gain a certain level of success or they're popular, they forget the people who helped them reach that position, because each and every person is really important in your life. So be your authentic self and never forget people who have helped you in any way, small or big, to reach where you are today or where you will be 10 years from now.
That's awesome. And speaking of the people, who has been the most integral mentor for you in your own journey?
There have been so many, actually. Obviously, I mentioned earlier, I wouldn't be able to do anything without the support of my family and my husband. So he has been really an integral part, because anytime I have any doubts, I go back to him and ask him if this is the right direction or not. And all my nutrition mentors, they changed my thinking about nutrition and helped me explore. And these days, I am in a business coaching program, which is called Abundance Cube Radio Show for Wellness Entrepreneurs. And I'm being coached by Noam Kostuki. And I really, really like this coaching program, because it's not only helping you professionally, but also helping you grow, personally and spiritually. So it's difficult to just pinpoint one person, because, I believe, you're nothing without the support of the community and, the universe. So actually, so many people have helped me in my journey to be what I am today.
Awesome. So what would you do if you had a whole month off and the books were handled and all your business was handled and your husband had his month off and your son was out of school for a month and you could go anywhere and do anything and money was no object? What would you do?
Oh, wow. That is such an awesome question, Nicole. I love it. The first and foremost, I would sleep, because being a mom, running a business, being a wife, the sleep is really compromised. So probably for the first 1 week, I'll just sleep. And then for the next few weeks, I would possibly, go to a really nice spiritual place. I really want to go to, Bhutan and meet because it's so organic and it's so green, or maybe Bali, one of those places, and just sit down and meditate and, be in unison with the higher power, not do anything really.
That's awesome.
Meditate. I think, that is one of the biggest drawbacks that I feel I have right now, because sometimes I lose my, touch with the meditation, which is really important for us, I believe. Yeah.
Nice. And that kind of leads me into the next question, which what would you say is the most important daily practice or ritual that you do yourself that helps you stay in peak performance mode?
What I do is actually I have this morning routine that I try to do every day, and I keep improvising on that routine every now and then. So my morning routine consists of actually starting my day with a glass of lemon water and honey, because that's alkaline, that helps move things into your body. And then I like to read a small scripture or a motivational quote. I have some books that I'm reading, and I have recently decided that I'm going to read one new book every month. And I think JLD and Mark Zuckerberg, they read 2 new books every month. So I'm like, I was really inspired by them. I'm like, if these people being so busy can include reading in their lifestyle, then I surely can. So, read a motivational or a spiritual quote. And then I try to, go out, walk on the grass, barefoot, be grounded, experience that feel of being grounded with the earth. And then I try to get in a little bit of yoga, maybe even if it is 5 or 10 minutes. I try to get it into my daily schedule and maybe do a couple of sun salutations. It's really odd, but I love looking straight at the sun with my eyes open and just talking to the sun. And that gives me a lot of power and a lot of inspiration to carry on my day. And it might seem odd because Phoenix sun is really bright and really, harsh, but I just love doing that, and it's also good for getting vitamin D, actually, looking in the sun through eyes, because that's the basic major part where how vitamin D is absorbed in your body. But I just feel good looking at the sun, and that's why I believe I'm in the perfect location.
Very cool. And it's funny that you say, we said about the, excuse me, about the grass, because you and I went to the same college, so Southwest
Yes.
Institute of Healing Arts. And when I was there, I did my life coaching and I did massage therapy, and I also did my holistic healthcare degree there. And I remember that's where I learned about walking in the grass barefooted. And so when you talked about that, I could picture on the side of the building, there's a patch of grass where everyone would go out and put their feet on the ground to get grounded. Did you do that there?
No, actually, I did not do it there because I was mainly in the nutrition program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was funny. It just reminded me of that.
Mhm.
Cool. And you mentioned books. What's your favorite book of all times?
Oh, my favorite book of all times is actually The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I feel, it's such a great book. And every time I need any questions answered, I open a page and wow, it's right there. All my answers are questioned. Yeah, it's a really nice book. I love reading it. Might not be that, a non-fictional kind of a book, but yeah, I love reading it. Apart from that, I also love reading our scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, which also helps you answer a lot of questions about life in general.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Now we're going to wrap up. Why don't you let our listeners know how they can connect with you and about where they can find your book?
Oh, they can find me on my website, parulagrawal.com. That's my first name, last name.com. And there's a link for the book on my website. They can also find it on Amazon by Juicing for Healthier Families. It's on Amazon and Kindle. And they can find me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, pretty much, anywhere I live on social media by author Parul.
Awesome. And we'll have all of that in the show notes as well. So if you go to bbrshow.com, then you can check out the show notes page for this episode and you'll find all those links. It has been such an honor and a privilege to have you here. Thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for this opportunity. And I love talking to you. I loved your questions. And it's so nice to finally meet you in person.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, make sure to subscribe on iTunes so that you don't miss another episode. And if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. Thanks so much for being here. And if you want to catch up on past episodes, it's super easy to do when you subscribe on iTunes. Also, we're on Stitcher. And of course, you can visit bbrshow.com for all of the episodes, show notes, and more. I would love to hear what you think about today's episode by leaving a review on iTunes, or also you can go to bbrshow.com, and on our show notes page, there is a comment section. Dear listeners, I do this show for you, so the more you let me know what you love, the more I can bring you that. Don't forget that the Business Building Rockstar Show releases every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So 3 times per week, you can listen in to what the journey towards rockstar status entrepreneurship is really like. Until next time, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I look forward to connecting again real soon.
And there you have it. If you enjoyed this episode of the Business Building Rockstars Show, be sure to subscribe on iTunes so you don't miss a thing. And visit bbrshow.com for all the show notes and links to resources discussed on today's show. Plus, lots more.